Hi, welcome to the Three Tynes podcast. Today, my guest is one of the most respected figures in the world of Northumberland folk music, the traditional singer David McCracken. David farms sheep and cattle on the hills above the North Tyne valley. He draws on a lifetime's experience of making music with his family and the community to create his own songs about rural life in the borders and beyond. He composes entirely in his head and writes nothing down, learning and passing on songs through the oral tradition and performing in local shows, pubs and folk sessions. David says he has hundreds of songs in his head and he recorded 3 of them for this episode.
I'm David McCracken, a farmer in North Tyne. I'm 78 years old. I've been singing since I suppose I was about 8. Come from a family of traditional singers. My uncle was a very keen singer. He was also the doctor at Rothbury. My aunt wrote songs and plays in the past, and I've just followed on the tradition. Hadarik, hadarik, in your smoke I hear you speak. Mind and of days long gone, like a smoke they've drifted on. Time to play, days of youth, playing at nature's sleuth, finding where the birdies play, out in the air the livelong day. Mother's wrote at end of day, then she'd sit to hear her play. I know a memory, like a smoke they drip from me. Lambing time when I went wrong, others when lambs were big and strong. Like a smoke they dripped away, only the memories left to stay. Courting days when I was fair, and I still had brown hair. Like a smoke they drift away, memories of a bygone day. Friends I've met along the way who aren't here today. Like a smoke they've drifted on, only memories in a song. Hadarik, hadarik, in your smoke I hear you speak. Mind and of days long gone, like a smoke they've drifted on.
Now you grew up in the Coquet Valley, is that right?
Yeah.
So what was it like in those days? Where did you learn your songs from? Was it family tradition to sing?
Basically family. I've always been very fortunate that I could pick up songs and learn them really without a lot of difficulty. So I would hear a song that I liked and I'd learn it by just listening to it. Basically that was it. Fortunately I knew in that period some of the old sort of singers. There was the Jackson brothers, and there was Jimmy White, and there was Will Scott from over the border, who sang various songs, and I picked a lot of those up, but most of them came from the family.
And where did the singing happen? Was it in people's houses or?
At home, if we had any celebration, there was always a sing-song or entertainment of some kind. In those days, there was a lot of pie and pea suppers. Fortunately, I was asked to go and sing. There was often sort of the History Society and various other people would have a singing session. I was asked to sing at those as well. And that started it off. The ultimate was when you were asked to sing at Harbottle. They had a big concert annually, and you'd sort of made it if you were asked to sing at Harbottle. But I rapidly found out one of the biggest lessons, if you were new on the scene, you were put on at the end. So being very efficient, I had written on the back of my hand all the songs that I thought I would sing, but I'd been taught before that you never sang the same song twice, you never tried to repeat. So during the evening I scratched out all the songs that I was going to sing and had to find some more.
Oh dear.
So that was a big learning curve, that if you're going out singing, you have to have a repertoire that you can sit and listen to other people sing a song and come back with something else.
Yeah. So it sounds as though, although music was part of everybody's routine way of celebrating, if you like, when they got together, there were also renowned singers in the area who would essentially compete, by the sound of it.
Yes, I mean, there's a big festival up at Newcastle, and Willie Scott used to, he won the trophy up there several years in a row. Jimmy White would compete against him. The Jackson brothers, I don't think ever really competed. They just sang at various functions and people's houses. There was the musicians, Joe Hutton and Woody Atkinson and Woody Taylor, and they were all of a vintage, so they all got together and played and sang and enjoyed themselves.
So I'm interested in the way that people participated in music, because I kind of took it for granted that in those days everybody was a musician or a singer of some sort, and whereas these days there are a lot of people who would be in an audience and one or two few people would maybe do the singing and performing.
No, it was the same then. You'd have probably more people who sang or played then, because you didn't have the television, you didn't have computers. But in the main, there'd be a sort of selection of people who would be asked to perform. Most people would know the choruses to the better known songs. No, it was a bit the same as it is now. There's just less chance nowadays to actually do it, because you don't have the get-togethers.
So where did the songs come from?
An awful lot of them are Northumbrian songs. Some of them are border songs, just songs that people have picked up and listened to and liked and passed on.
And what was the subject matter?
Everything.
Presumably a lot about farming, or the countryside, or the weather, or ships, or...
A lot about a lot of them are Tyneside songs, which were more I suppose, slightly more musical type, bit of comedy in them. Some of them were serious, some of them did relate to farming. But no, it was a sort of mixture of everything, I think.
And were the old ones mixed up with new ones too?
Yes, yes. You'd get odd new ones coming in and older ones going back into the sort of realms of time. Some of the Tyneside ones go back an awful long way. And then you'd get the coal mining ones coming in, which were slightly newer, and then you got the likes of Johnny Handel, who composed a lot of mining songs, so they came into the repertoire as well. We did go to the Morpeth Gathering when Roland Bibby was in charge, sort of enter the competition there, and fortunately he rather liked my singing and my songs, so I did quite well out of that. I got 1 or 2 trophies over the years from the Morpeth Gathering. Of late I've started to learn a lot more songs from Aberdeen. I go up there to a festival every year. I rather like a lot of their songs up there.
I've seen mention of you performing at Bellingham Show.
Yes.
Are there many shows about now where your kind of singing is available?
No. Bellingham Show, when it sort of changed, they've always had the piping tent for the Northumbrian pipes, but it was very low key of late. So when the show changed, Catherine Tickell and some of the other pipers decided they would try and up it a little bit and get singers and other musicians in to perform during the afternoon. And it's surprising how many people just go and listen and enjoy, hopefully learn something.
Any other shows of the kind?
Nope. I've never actually gone to Barfest, which takes place in Bellingham. It's acoustic sort of folk, and I've not actually got there. There's the Reed Fest over in Rochester, which I've been to once, but I didn't sing. There's the Rothbury Festival, Unfortunately, they're normally at a time of year when I'm rather busy on the farms.
Yeah.
Don't get there.
Uh-huh.
So I just now have organised 2 sort of folk afternoons on a Sunday afternoon at the Hollybush and the Greenhalgh, which have gone down quite well. So.
You also mentioned to me earlier the event at Calvert Trust. Could you tell me about that again?
That's a twice yearly event. A group of singers and musicians from basically down the coast come out to the Calvert Trust for a weekend, get together, sing, play music, and just generally enjoy the weekend. It's not open to the public. It's very much that group of people.
Yeah.
They listen to various people play and sing and
share ideas. And
and you pick up the odd song and pass on some of yours, hopefully.
And how would a musician get to be part of that if they wanted to?
Most probably you'd get in touch with Bridget Gallagher, who's online, email, and just say you fancy coming up and having a look and see what's what, and if there's a place, if you're early enough, you can get in, because it's remarkably well supported. Normally there's a sort of waiting list for people to join in.
So you grew up in the Coquet Valley. What was it brought you to where we are now in the parish of Tarset?
I've always wanted to farm. From the age of 5, I think it was, when I first sort of said I wanted to farm.
What did your father do? Sorry.
He was a doctor.
All right. Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, he got Parkinson's before I was born, and so he retired by the time I was born. We moved out from Newcastle to Rothbury. So as time went past, looking for a farm, there were no farms came up in Cokerdale at all. There was one came up in Marisford, which we managed to rent. The landlord was pushing the rent higher and higher, and so we looked around and ended up here. The first time I ever saw here was I'd come up to sing at an opening event for the Bassel House, which is a mile down the road, when Irene Madison had managed to raise the money to repair it. I hadn't even realised that this bit of ground existed, so it was rather surprising that a few years later I ended up here, but I think I'm here now for good. But that's how I got here.
And you were telling me you've got 500 head of sheep.
Yes.
And did I see some cattle up there on the way in as well?
Not mine.
Not yours?
Mine are all in the shed.
Oh, right.
We've got about 23 cows.
Uh-huh.
So, unfortunately, last year at this time, one of them decided I shouldn't be in with her and her calves.
Oh dear.
So I ended up with 9 cracked ribs in the RBI for 10 days. She did apologise later. These hills, they are precious, aye dear unto me, but now they are changing, aye there's no taking day, for the sheep there are leaving, aye the men are away, memories of a bygone day. No more will the purple be seen on the brae, as August comes in with its shortening day. No more will we walk in the warmth of the spring, to hear the curlew and the other birds sing. For men in high places, they said to me, these hills they are useless, there's nought they can do, so take all the stock and let them grow free. They won't hear an old shepherd's plea. We've seen it all happen before. Maggie Thatcher closed the mine door, and the shipyards were levelled to make way for flats. That's the place that hill farms are at. So ye people who like the long view, listen, listen, I'm talking to you. Oh listen, hear what I say. You still got a choice if you speak out today.
So when did you start composing your own songs?
in my teenage years.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, I suppose some people would write poetry. I end up, it comes out as a song. When I first started, I wouldn't say they were particularly good. They were all right, but one, for example, was all about poaching on the croquet.
Mm-hmm. Which you would never do, obviously.
Obviously.
No.
Never think about it. Another one was one night walking around the sheep as the crows were all going back to roost. It sort of resulted in a song there. Then from that, when I first met Maureen, who's a miner's daughter, and the mines were all closing at the time, I actually wrote a mining song, and then there was one about the first dog I had that had to be put down. Then when we moved to the Tyne, I thought, well, there's songs about most other places, but there doesn't seem to be many about the Tyne, so that one ended up with a few coming about the Tyne, about building the dam, and then coming back from this festival in Scotland, coming back as a sort of visitor, they'd been pushing a pipeline over the top of a hill. I'd met somebody who was there, and I was giving Hannah Hutton a lift, so all three went together and came up with a song. So.
Yeah. So it's about your life, really, about aspects of your life.
Basically, yes.
Yeah.
It's so normally ends up in that way.
So you mentioned there that you thought that the songs of your younger self were not necessarily what you would call good songs. Now, what do you mean by a good song? What makes a good song?
I think one that people join in with more. If it's got a chorus that they can pick up, that's very good. I don't say that bad songs, the other ones. Obviously, in their day, they were considered good enough to win trophies. So I maybe shouldn't say that, but I like to see people joining in.
That's an important part of your performance then, to get the audience joining in with you.
I like to sort of see a reaction somewhere down the line, not a grimace. I'd rather see a sort of smile or joy come into it.
Yeah. And where do the melodies come from?
I have no idea.
How do they occur to you? Is it just turning things over in your mind?
It's normally, I suppose, almost the melody comes almost at the same time as the words.
All right.
I'll go to bed on it because I don't write them down. Haven't got them recorded anywhere. I think there is a CD somewhere that the family have, but if I remember them the next day, then it's worth working on a bit further.
That's a good test, isn't it?
And so it goes on.
Yeah.
And that sort of thing, if you haven't remembered it, well, it mustn't be any good, so get rid of it.
So do your songs evolve? Because presumably they don't remain exactly the same.
Yes, I think they do to a certain degree.
Yeah.
Just tweaked a little bit here and there, or another verse put in, or something added on that you suddenly think of.
And how many songs do you think you have in your head?
I have absolutely no idea.
Tens, hundreds?
Hundreds, I think.
Hundreds. That's an impressive total, isn't it?
At this singing weekend that I go to in Aberdeen, we arrive on a Friday night, so it's this come here sing session. Then we retire into the wash house or the bothy or a marquee, and sometimes those can go until 6 o'clock in the morning.
Wow.
Just singing, because it's all unaccompanied singing for the whole weekend. On the Saturday there's singing sessions and there's a concert, and then at night on the Saturday it's back to the same thing again. When the words of a song come out but not necessarily in the right order, you know that you've had enough whiskey and it's time to go to bed.
But up until then you're perfect.
Up until then it's perfect.
That's a very impressive feat.
And you never sing the same song twice.
Yeah.
Unless it's at a session and you're wanting to get this song across to more than one. You might nip to another session and sing the same song again, but in the main you sing different songs the whole time.
So do you try to teach your songs to other people?
No. I mean, if they want them, they hear me sing them then take them away and do what they like with them.
Mm-hmm.
Because once they're out there, as far as I'm concerned, they're there for somebody to use if they want to. I gather one of them has. It's been heard down at Loughborough, and that obviously must have been just somebody with a mobile phone picking it up, because, as I say, they're not written down, they're not recorded. I keep being told I should do.
Well, I was going to say, do you have any interest at all in your legacy being songs?
I have a grandson who knows most of them. At this thing at the Carver Trust, they all keep sort of saying you should go and record them, but I might do. I keep saying I must, I will, I'll go and do it someday, but haven't got round to it yet. So.
All right.
I recorded with a lad called Francie Devine in Ireland on a CD that he did at Steve Byrne in Edinburgh. I was amazed how technically brilliant it is. I thought we would be singing together because we were singing Farewell Regality, Terry Conway's song. So I arrived, said, "Where's Francie?" "Oh, he recorded his yesterday," says Steve. "Oh, by the way, you'll have to sing every chorus because he slightly changed them." One take, he said, "Just one little bit, could you just repeat?" It was, sort
of words.
Couple of words.
Yeah.
"That'll do." He says, "That's pretty amazing, you got it in one." So I thought, oh, well, that's good.
So, I should have asked you this right at the beginning, really, but what's your understanding of what traditional music is? How do you define it?
To me, traditional music is music that's passed down orally from one generation to the next, or by one person to another. I don't think it's totally necessary that it comes out in the same style as the previous singer, even if he's the one that wrote it. I mean, if somebody adapted a song that I'd sung to suit themselves, wouldn't worry me in the least bit. Thinking of Terry Conway's Farewell Regality, when he first wrote it, it wasn't really a farewell song, which it's become now, because he linked regality and liberty together, which is all about Hexhamshire, and he was actually sort of saying goodbye to Hexhamshire. So if you slow it down a little bit and widen it, it's now become a farewell song all over the place, which I don't think Terry totally expected when he first wrote it, but it's gone all over the world now. Yeah. If you go up to Aberdeen, a lot of the songs up there were bothy ballads, and sung in bothies of an evening. People picked them up. Maybe couldn't quite remember all the words, possibly a few drinks taken. So they went to the next bothy. So I've got a great song, and put in a few different words. One that I know of, Joe Aitken, had 48 different versions of exactly the same song. Some of them were bawdy, suited the bothy that they were in. Some of them were fairly quiet, but that was the same song, and it had just been picked up and taken and altered as it went along, and that's fair enough. That's what, to me, tradition is. It changes, it moves along, which is why I dislike seeing somebody picking up the words off a phone, because I don't think you can actually put your emphasis onto it in quite the same way.
It's different reading something than actually saying it, isn't it? It's a different process in your mind, I think.
It's if it's in here, you've got it. I know my daughter, who plays the piano, occasionally if I've heard a song and I want to try and learn it, I'll get her to play the melody over once or twice, and at the end she'll say, "That's not quite right, Dad." So it's right enough for me, and just take it from there. And it's near enough the same. It might not be absolutely perfect, but
it sounds all right.
That's tradition to me.
Yeah. So how many takes do you need to have to get a song in your mind?
If I like it, maybe it's 4.
And then presumably you go off and sing it a bit. And
Go around the sheep singing. Yeah. Sheep have very good audience. They don't complain very much. On the other hand, if you're singing with the dogs there, and it's not quite to their liking, they're liable to just lie down or just move away. So you know you've hit a duff note.
I have a cat that does the same thing to me.
Yeah, they're all very good at doing that. So.
I think they know best.
Yes.
So are there any other traditional singers around here that you respect and recommend?
Graham Dick at West Woodburn. He's been singing, maybe he's not quite as long as I have, but he was selected to go to America because there was a point where the Cowboys thought that possibly they had a link to Northumbrian music in their traditional songs, so they got some of the local lads to go over. One who wrote poetry, who I don't think they understood a word he said, but that doesn't totally surprise me. Graham is fairly understandable, and he has quite a lot of songs. Mike Tickow, he's another singer. Unaccompanied singers, no, that's about it.
Do you listen to other traditional singers for listening for pleasures?
Yes, I'm quite happy to go off and listen at a concert. We had trouble of late because we haven't had a CD player that played CDs, but we've got one now, so I'll be starting to listen to some of the CDs that I've picked up to try and find a few more.
And when the lambing's over, do you have any concerts or performances lined up?
Beginning of May there'll be the one at Barretsford, the monthly session there. I'm hoping to organise another one at the Holly Bush. Possibly, if the weather's fine, we'll go outside so we can get a few more. That's the main one. Then July I go up to Aberdeen. That's all that's on the venue at the moment.
So if people wanted to find out about these events, how would they do that?
We'll be on the Hollybush website.
That's the Hollybush Inn at Greenhoff. Yeah.
There's a Killarney website as well. That's done through the Elphinstone Institute at Aberdeen University, who must have an absolute massive archive of songs because they collect them all during the weekend and store them away. So, but other than that, just look out and watch and see what's going on.
Yeah, follow all the Facebook pages of the local potential venues and pubs and processions and such like. Yeah,
that's basically
keep your eyes open and talk to people.
Yeah.
David McCracken, thank you very much.
It's been a great pleasure. Thank you very much for coming. Are you taking the road over yonder green brae? Are you taking the road that leads my way? Would you take me with you and be my guide? Guide me back to the borders. There where Bamborough Castle stand, there where Kew does dry the land, there where runs the borderline, there flows the river known as Tyne. Are you taking the road over yonder green brae? Are you taking the road that leads my way? Would you take me with you and be my guide? Guide me back to the borders. There is history on every hand, ghosts of reavers roam the land. Romans built their mighty wall, their religious feet did fall. Are you taking the road over yonder green brae? Are you taking the road that leads my way? Would you take me with you and be my guide? Guide me back to the borders. Shepherds calling from the hill, lassies working in the mill. Down the mines and on the quay, all of these bring home to me. Are you taking the road over yonder green brae? Are you taking the road that leads my way? Would you take me with you and be my guide? Guide me back to the borders. There's the county that I call home. That is where my feet would roam. There I'll live and there I'll die, back home in the borders. Are you taking the road over yonder green brae? Are you taking the road that leads my way? Would you take me with you and be my guide? Guide me back to the borders.
Thanks for listening to the Three Tynes podcast. I hope you enjoyed this episode. Please subscribe and tell your friends about it.